Good evening. I'm Adrian Sala, and you're listening to WikiSleep YouTube. If you're enjoying our channel, but hate the ads, all of our episodes are available ad-free through our WikiSleep app, which you can find easily by clicking the links below or visiting wikisleep.com. The app has more unique sleep support, including meditations, breath work, ambient sounds, white noise, exclusive episodes, and so much more. It's available entirely ad-free, and you can download it for free by visiting wikisleep.com. There's a free trial to give it a test drive to see if it's the right fit for you, and then it's only an investment of $1.50 a week for better sleep. It's a quick, simple, and inexpensive way to invest in your sleep hygiene and sleep health. As we begin, I recommend taking a moment to get comfortable. Then take a few long, deep breaths and settle in for this calm, interesting, but quiet story. And one last note, no need to smash that like button. You can simply, gently, sleepily click it and subscribe. And don't forget while you're doing that to add notifications as well so you never miss an episode. Thank you, and I wish you a happy, restful sleep in whatever way works best for you.
Good evening, I'm Britt Buntain, and tonight I'll be reading to you about Carrie Fisher, an American actress, writer, and spokesperson, most known for playing Princess Leia in the Star Wars films. Fisher was a tireless advocate for addiction and mental health and celebrated for her honest, often funny, and heartfelt perspective on these subjects. Take some time to get cozy here, and when you're feeling comfortable and settled, I suggest a few long, deep breaths. Remember, if you start to fall asleep, don't fight it. Simply breathe it in and let yourself drift off. Carrie Fisher was born on October 21st, 1956, in Burbank, California, to actress Debbie Reynolds and singer Eddie Fisher. Fisher was 2 years old when her parents divorced in 1959. In 1960, her mother married Harry Carl, owner of a chain of shoe stores. Reynolds and Carl divorced in 1973 when Fisher was 17 years old. As a child, Fisher hid in books, becoming known in her family as the bookworm. She spent her youth reading classic literature and writing poetry. Fisher attended Beverly Hills High School till she was 16, when she appeared as a debutante and singer in the hit Broadway revival Irene in 1973, which starred her mother. Her time on Broadway interfered with her education, and she dropped out of high school. Later that year, she enrolled at London's Central School of Speech and Drama, which she attended for 18 months. Following her time there, she was accepted at Sarah Lawrence College, where she planned to study the arts, but she left before she graduated. Fisher made her film debut in 1975 as the precociously seductive character Lorna Karpf in the Columbia Pictures comedy Shampoo when she was just 17. Lee Grant and Jack Warden play the role of her parents in the film, which also starred Warren Beatty, Julie Christie, and Goldie Hawn. In 1977, Fisher played Princess Leia in the George Lucas film Star Wars, opposite Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford. In April 1978, she appeared as the love interest in Ringo Starr's TV special, Ringo. The next month, she starred alongside John Ritter in the ABC TV film Leave Yesterday Behind. Around the same period, she also appeared with Laurence Olivier and Joanne Woodward in the anthology series Laurence Olivier Presents, in a television version of the William Ing play Come Back, Little Sheba. That November, she revived her role as Princess Leia in the 1978 TV production Star Wars Holiday Special and sang in the last scene. In the early 80s, Fisher appeared in the film The Blues Brothers as Jake's vengeful ex-lover. She's listed in the credits as Mystery Woman. While she was in Chicago filming the movie, she choked on a Brussels sprout. Dan Aykroyd performed the Heimlich maneuver and, according to Fisher, saved her life. She appeared on Broadway in Censored Scenes from King Kong in 1980. Also in 1980, she reprised her role as Princess Leia in The Empire Strikes Back and appeared with her Star Wars co-stars on the cover of the July issue of Rolling Stone to promote the film. In 1983, she again returned to the role of Princess Leia in Return of the Jedi and posed in the character's metal bikini on the cover of the summer issue of Rolling Stone to promote the film. The costume later achieved a following of its own. In 1987, Fisher published her first novel, Postcards from the Edge. The book was semi-autobiographical in the sense that she fictionalized and satirized real-life events such as her drug addiction of the late 1970s and her relationship with her mother. It became a bestseller and she received the Los Angeles Pen Award for Best First Novel. That same year, she was in the Australian film The Time Guardian. Then, in 1989, she played a major supporting role in When Harry Met Sally, and appeared with Tom Hanks as his character's wife in The Burbs. In 1990, Columbia Pictures released a film version of Postcards from the Edge, adapted for the screen by Fisher, and starring Meryl Streep, Shirley MacLaine, and Dennis Quaid. Fisher appeared in the fantasy comedy film Drop Dead Fred in 1991 and played a therapist in Austin Powers' International Man of Mystery in 1997. During the 1990s, Fisher published the novels Surrender the Pink and Delusions of Grandma. Fisher wrote an episode of the television sitcom Roseanne entitled Arsenic and Old Mom, in which her mother, Debbie Reynolds, made a guest appearance. Fisher also did uncredited script work for movies such as Lethal Weapon 3, where she wrote some of Rene Russo's dialogue, Outbreak, The Wedding Singer, and Stop, or My Mom Will Shoot, starring Sylvester Stallone. She also co-wrote the TV comedy film These Old Broads, of which she was also co-executive producer. It starred her mother, Debbie Reynolds, as well as Elizabeth Taylor, Joan Collins, and Shirley MacLaine. In addition to acting and writing original works, Fisher was one of the top script doctors in Hollywood, working on the screenplays of other writers. She did uncredited polishes on movies in a 15-year stretch from 1991 to 2005. She was hired by George Lucas to work on scripts for his 1992 TV series, The Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, and the dialogue for the Star Wars prequels. Fisher published a sequel to Postcards, The Best Awful There Is, in 2004. She wrote and performed in a one-woman play, Wishful Drinking, at the Geffen Playhouse in Los Angeles from November 2006 to January 2007, and published her autobiographical book, also titled Wishful Drinking, based on the play. She was among the featured performers at the Comedy Central Roast of Roseanne, which aired in August 2012. In her monologue, Fisher poked fun at her own mental illness and her fellow roasters' reliance on weight and menopause jokes. She joked that she had no idea why she was asked to roast Roseanne until they explained that we were actually good friends and that apparently we have worked together. fellow roaster Wayne Brady poked fun at Fisher's career, saying she was the only celebrity whose action figure is worth more than you are. In a March 2013 interview, following the announcement that a new trilogy of Star Wars films would be produced, Fisher confirmed that she would reprise her role as Princess Leia in Episode 7 of the series. She said Leia was elderly. She's in an intergalactic old folks' home. I just think she would be just like she was before, only slower and less inclined to be up for the big battle. In a January 2014 interview, Fisher confirmed her involvement and the involvement of the original cast in the upcoming sequels by saying, "As for the next Star Wars film, myself, Harrison Ford, and Mark Hamill are expected to report to work in March or April. I'd like to wear my old cinnamon buns hairstyle again, but with white hair. I think that would be funny." In March 2014, Fisher stated that she was moving to London for 6 months because that was where Star Wars Episode 7 filming would take place. Fisher's memoir, The Princess Diarist, was released in November 2016. The book is based on diaries she kept while filming the original Star Wars trilogy in the late 70s and early 80s. Her audiobook recording of the memoir earned her a Grammy Award for Best Spoken Word Album. In her 2016 autobiography, Fisher wrote that she and Harrison Ford had a 3-month affair during the filming of Star Wars in 1976. Then in 1977, she met musician Paul Simon while filming Star Wars, and the pair dated on and off for several years. In 1980, she was briefly engaged to Canadian actor and comedian Dan Aykroyd, who proposed to her on the set of their film, The Blues Brothers. She said, "We had rings, we got blood tests, the whole shot, but then I got back together with Paul Simon." Fisher was married to Simon from August 1983 to July 1984, and they dated again for a time after their divorce. During their marriage, she appeared in Simon's music video for the song Renee and Georgette Marguerite with their dog after the war. Simon's song, Hearts and Bones, is about their romance, and his song, Graceland, written after their divorce, refer to her in the lines, "She's come back to tell me she's gone, as if I didn't know that, as if I didn't know my own bed, as if I'd never noticed the way she brushed her hair from her forehead." Fisher said she felt privileged to appear in Simon's songs. She subsequently had a relationship with Creative Artists Agency principal and talent agent Brian Lord. Their only child, Billy Lord, was born in 1992. The couple's relationship ended when Lord left her for a man. In interviews, Fisher described Lord as her second husband, but a 2004 profile revealed that she and Lord were never legally married. Fisher had a close relationship with English singer-songwriter James Blunt. While working on his album Back to Bedlam in 2003, Blunt spent much of his time at Fisher's residence. When Vanity Fair's George Wayne asked Fisher if their relationship was sexual, she replied, "Absolutely not, but I did become his therapist. He was a soldier. This boy has seen awful stuff. Every time James hears fireworks or anything like that, his heart beats faster and he gets fight or flight. You know, he comes from a long line of soldiers dating back to the 10th century. He would tell me these horrible stories. He was a captain, a reconnaissance soldier. I became James's therapist, so it would have been unethical to sleep with my patient." On February 26, 2005, R. Gregory Greg Stevens, a 42-year-old lobbyist, was found dead in Fisher's California home. The final autopsy report listed the cause of death as cocaine and oxycodone use, but added chronic and apparently previously undiagnosed heart disease as contributing factors. In an interview, Fisher claimed that Stevens' ghost haunted her mansion, which unsettled her. "I was a nut for a year," she said, "and in that year I took drugs again." In her later years, she had an emotional support dog, a Frenchie named Gary, whom she brought to numerous appearances and interviews. Following her death, reports indicated that her daughter Billy would take care of Gary. Fisher described herself as an enthusiastic agnostic who would be happy to be shown that there is a God. She was raised Protestant, but often attended Jewish services, her father's faith, with Jewish Orthodox friends. In 2016, Harvard College gave Fisher its annual Outstanding Lifetime Achievement Award in Cultural Humanism, noting that her forthright activism and outspokenness about addiction, mental illness, and agnosticism have advanced public discourse on these issues with creativity and empathy. Fisher was a supporter and advocate for several causes, including women's advocacy, animal rights, and LGBT causes. She was open about her experiences caring for friends who suffered from AIDS and contributed financially to various AIDS and HIV organizations, including hosting a benefit for AMFAR, the Foundations for AIDS Research. She also served as an honorary board member for the International Bipolar Foundation and, in 2014, received the Golden Heart Award for her work with the Midnight Mission. During appearances on 2020 and The Secret Life of the Manic Depressive with Stephen Fry, Fisher publicly discussed her diagnosis of bipolar disorder and her addictions to cocaine and prescription medication. She said her drug use was a form of self-medication. She used pain medication such as Percodan to dial down the manic aspect of her bipolar disorder. She gave nicknames to her bipolar moods. Roy, the wild ride of a mood, and Pam, who stands on the shore and sobs. Drugs made me feel more normal, she explained to Psychology Today in 2001. They contained me. She discussed her 2008 memoir, Wishful Drinking, and various topics in it with Matt Lauer on NBC's Today that same year. She also revealed that she would have turned down the role of Princess Leia had she realized it would give her the celebrity status that made her parents' lives difficult. This interview was followed by a similar appearance on The Late Late Show with Craig Ferguson on December 12, 2008, where she discussed her electroconvulsive therapy treatments. At one point, she received ECT every 6 weeks to, as she refers, blow apart the cement in her brain. In another interview, Fisher revealed that she used cocaine during the filming of The Empire Strikes Back. I realized I was doing a bit more drugs than other people and losing my choice in the matter, she noted. In 1985, after months of sobriety, she accidentally overdosed on a combination of prescription medication and sleeping pills. She was rushed to the hospital, creating the turn of events that led to much of the material in her novel and screenplay, Postcards from the Edge. Asked why she did not take on the role of her story's protagonist named Suzanne in the film version, Fisher remarked, "I've already played Suzanne." After finishing the European leg of her book tour, Fisher was on a commercial flight on December 23, 2016, from London to Los Angeles, when she suffered a medical emergency around 15 minutes before the aircraft landed. A passenger seated near Fisher reported that she had stopped breathing. Another passenger performed CPR on her until paramedics arrived at the scene. Emergency services in Los Angeles were contacted when the flight crew reported a passenger unresponsive prior to landing. Fisher was taken by ambulance to the Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center, where she was placed on a ventilator. On the morning of December 27th, after being in intensive care for 4 days, she died. In a June 16, 2017 news release, the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office said that the exact cause of death could not be determined, but sleep apnea and the buildup of fatty tissue on the walls of arteries were among the contributing factors. A full report from June 2017 stated that Fisher had cocaine in her system, as well as traces of heroin, other opiates, and MDMA. The report also stated that the investigation was unable to determine when she had taken the drugs and whether they contributed to her death. Her daughter, Billie Lord, stated that Fisher battled drug addiction and mental illness her entire life. She ultimately died of it. She was purposefully open in all of her work about the social stigmas surrounding these diseases. I know my mom. She'd want her death to encourage people to be open about their struggles. Just one day after her death, Fisher's mother, Debbie Reynolds, also died. Carrie Fisher was just 60 years old when she died.